Here's the beach house project that we did a few years back. This is at a time before I was doing video, just a lot of pictures. This is the tram that we rode down to the house. All the materials, every day, everything had to come in on that tram. So that added to the difficulty of working there. The beach house is behind that big white house in the center. But you can walk along the beach here, and it's a pretty cool place to live. And that is the house when we started it. The deck on there is kind of a lesson in how not to do decks. It's all flimsy. You can see the boards bowing. It just was very poorly done, unsafe at all. The house had been sitting for a few years, and so there were a fair number of rats living inside of it. We went to tear down the living room ceiling and got a rat poop shower out of that. That's going to be in the interior video. This is the exterior video. So that is the deck off the front room there. And you can see the weather that we get there. There's always something interesting along the beach and coming in for the view. There's a harbor seal that washed up one day. Poor guy died from something. And so it just washed back out to sea with the next tide. These waves form every day as the tide comes in. There's a sandbar under that, and as the tide comes in over the sandbar, it forms waves as the water passes over the sandbar. It's kind of a cool thing to see every day. And you get to see the weather fronts coming in. They seem to be more visible there as you're looking out across the Olympic Mountains. You can see that split front between the good weather and the bad weather. There's a seagull hightailing it for calmer trees or something. And yeah, the weather, it can be pretty ominous there. See how it just darkens up as the clouds cover over the last bit of sun. This was a sunset with the crescent moon, and I think that was Saturn behind it. I'm hand holding the camera, so pardon the exposure, the blurriness. And here's a couple of different sunsets that we got to enjoy. But yeah, just a really cool place to live. Be really nice to have that coming in your living room window every night. So back to the house. This is what it looked like on the outside when we started. Overgrown. This is after we have already cleaned it up. This is looking at the house from the other side, the north side. And you can see that the deck is kind of a shoddy piece of workmanship. And that's all going to be replaced later on in this video. There you can see some tidal action again. We're looking out from the living room over the deck now. So you can see some of these huge footings that the people had put in for the deck. Just, I don't know why. And you can see the notched 4x4 posts there. Just not really the way to do things. So yeah, this deck was a lesson in how not to do things. And it had been neglected for many years. Nobody had been living in the house for 2 or 5 years when we started on it. You can see the concrete had been settling and shifting and breaking apart. Then just debris had been left all around the house. The joists for the deck had about a 30-inch spacing, far too wide. The deck was very flimsy and bouncy to walk on. So there you can see some new steps that were put in up the side of the house. And that was a big improvement. There wasn't really a way to get around the house before, and now with those stairs you can. So all the old concrete has been taken out and new concrete was put in. We didn't actually do this concrete. That was another contractor. We did position the rocks to have them function as tables, chairs, and just nice deck patio features. Some of this concrete actually had to be broken back out because some of the guys working for the contractor walked on it and left footprints, and then the concrete hardened with the footprints. You can see one there. So they had to break it out and redo it. Very unfortunate. And you can see some of the concrete there ended at the wall there. Mitch and I will have actually gone in and added concrete in that area later on. You'll see that near the end of this video. So we're going to be tearing down this deck here pretty soon and replacing it. You can see how the contractor had temporarily supported the deck. I'm not sure why. Well, I guess it wasn't his job to tear it down. He just got the posts out of the way and then propped the deck up on the rocks like that. It didn't fall, so that's good enough, I suppose. And there is some concrete that we had to do because we put some footings in underneath for concrete anchors. You can see the bow in that beam. There we are starting. If you look on the right side up above, you can see a Juliet deck that we are putting in for that bedroom with the deck windows. What we did is we took out the rim joist and sistered in a bunch of new joists to the existing floor joists, and double joists on each end and a double joist on the outer rim of the deck. And so we have a good strong Juliet deck there. Then we tore off all the old siding and put up some 5/8 plain T111 plywood siding and then added the batten boards to that. And so that just gives it a nice feature. This is the deck that we're going to build, and we're just using standard framing lumber because the deck is going to be a Geico coated deck, and it's not really necessary to have the treated lumber on it. So we have the just standard framing lumber with the hangers. You can see the double joist there, and out on the end over where the posts are in front of the house, we'll have tripled joists for the spans. And this was just kind of a rainbow in the haze off the beach, kind of an interesting thing that just happened. So that is the deck that we're building. We have the tongue and groove subfloor plywood up there. It's an AC grade, smooth grade of plywood. And we'll get that all glued and screwed down, and then come back and put 4 coats of Geico Flex over it. We'll put a first coat down, and then we will get out the Sikaflex and mesh tape that you embed into the caulk over all the seams, and that will seal up and span the seams and hold them together. And you can see all the glass in that front room there. It makes for a really nice place to just sit and look out and enjoy the view. There to the left you can see the tripled up beam, and those are 6x6 cedar posts. We have concealed post bases that have a slot in the center of the post, and then the bracket sticks up into the post, and you put, I think it's 3 bolts through it. So there's a center beam that we had a triple joist on that, and then a double joist on that beam there, and by the chimney. We have a treated ledger on the concrete deck straight ahead. So we're looking up the hill there. Then we have, there's the first coat of Geico Flex deck coat going down. Mitch is rolling that. It's a nice sunny day. We do it a little bit later in the day because we don't want direct sun. So there you can see the GecoFlex is on. It's been worked well into all the seams and nail holes and all that. And then we will come back and put down some Sikaflex caulk and embed the fiberglass mesh tape into that, and that will seal and span, smooth out all of those seam joints, butt joints. There you see the stairway we put in. That's got 4x12 beams on each side and 3x12 stair treads. So now we are in the living room of the house. You see the new oak floors we put in, and we're looking out through the living room. Down at the bottom of the stairway, you can see the steel brackets we put in. They are Simpson angle brackets. They're Z-rated, so they have a good galvanized coating on them. So this is a look at the house as we're progressing along. We're doing this siding now. We've got a temporary safety railing up there, and then once you know it, the weather has turned on us and there's been rain, and we're trying to get that Gecko coat down on the deck. This is how we are fastening the 6x6s to the deck. We have these heavy angle brackets bolted into the header beam. Then we drilled 2 1/2-inch by 8-inch bolts and drove those down into the top of each 6x6. And then we have 4x8 sheets of beaded ceiling under the deck for the ceiling under the deck. This is where we were the other contractor didn't pour concrete into this area, and so Mitch and I are pouring concrete and screeding it off, and then washed off the exposed aggregate and made it all match up to the existing concrete that had just been done. It might have a little different of a color to it. So you can see all the posts in there, plenty of lighting under the deck. It's a really nice deck. Works out beautiful coming out of that basement door there, if you remember what that looked like before with all the debris in front of it. This is groundwater management that's going in up above. That is a catch basin, and there's going to be a bunch more piping and gravel put in to control groundwater. There's also going to be a new water main put in under that. You'll see the water main that they did on this in the plumbing video on this house. It's pretty amazing. And these are some of the steps. The same guy who did most of the patio below did this first layer of level of steps and that retaining wall. And then the steps that I did are the ones that go above the ones you see right at the top center. And the concrete walk that he installed comes around the side there and meets up with the deck. So it worked out really nicely. So then we added some new cedar siding, cedar shake siding, and we replaced the T111 with 8-inch reveal tight knot cedar siding. And this is looking up into the entry area. That is the attic access door and a lower exposure. And that's how you climb up in there. So we did all the new cedar shake siding up there and the beveled siding. That's just to look at those steps, and then I came in and built the rest of them going up the hillside. This is a walkway that goes around the side of those steps you saw on the side of the house earlier. So this just made a huge difference to the house if you remember what it looked like before to what it looks like now. And this is the finished deck. We have the glass panel railing up, and there's the stairway down. I am not sure if I have more pictures of the finished deck while I'm narrating this, but there's the Juliet deck with the glass railing on it. Yeah, so there you can see the seams have all flattened out and disappeared, and we've got the 4 coats of Geico Flex deck coat on it. And that is a concrete wall the neighbor put in that has failed. Since then it fell apart. This is what it looks like below there with the new board and batten siding, and you see the beaded ceiling up there. There's the glass railing. You see the 6x6 deck posts and all that nice new concrete patio, the rocks that are incorporated into it. There's the Juliet deck, a little bit of a lawn. There is the stairway going up to the living room. So the house turned out very nicely. You have to remember that this thing was abandoned. It had rats in it. It had been neglected for several years, and it needed a lot of love. That's part of the groundwater management system. It drains the water out from under the house and over to the beach, and those are the 2 pipes that drain the water out. And there you see the beaded ceiling has been painted now. And this is what it looks like finished. Quite a difference from what it was. So if you have seen the concrete stairway video, this is the same house. And if you've watched the timber stairway videos, this is the same house. And again, that is what it looked like when we started. And that is kind of midway through with the new Juliet deck, all the old deck torn away. And this is what it looks like finished. And that is the evening exposure. So thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. Please do subscribe if you want to keep watching more of my videos, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you.